Hello and welcome back to another Christmas in July video where we're going to make little scalloped circle notepads out of used Christmas cards, upcycled paper from notepads, and some cardstock. I've got this one done. I used a brad for the fastener, and then these little cards just swivel to the side so that you can write. And then, so this might be your naughty and nice list. This might be your things to pick up list that you keep in your purse. You could put a magnet on it and put it on the fridge. They're just cute little things, and they're a great way to use up some of the cards that you won't use other ways. You can just take a little circle out of the card and find the prettiest part of the card, I guess, and save it. So it's also kind of a fun with punches video, because we're going to use these two scallop punches, and then I'm going to show you how I always keep my whale tail tab and my 5/8 circle punch, and even my snowflake punch, in this case with winter cards. Keep those handy when I'm doing these projects, because whatever is scraps, I will make into something with those instead of just throwing it back in the bin. So I've got a second one in the green ready to go. This is, I think it's from the same card. So we've got some stockings hanging. I think it was like here, somewhere like here on the card. And actually maybe not, because there's a different Christmas tree. I can't remember now. And you notice I put this one kind of centered. I also thought that you wouldn't have to do that. You could, as long as these scallops lined up, you could put it up at the top, and it kind of has more of a wreath look to it with that uneven border. I kind of like that. In this prototype, I used some of the graph paper with the gray lines, but I thought that in this second one, I would use this beige envelope that I've had to, well, I would normally save the whole envelope and use it, but it had a whole bunch of bird stamps on it. It was something I got in a swap. So it had a whole, like, I think it was 6 or 8, I think it was 8 bird stamps. So I cut those right out as one big unit. So then this isn't really usable as an envelope anymore. So I'm going to punch a bunch of the 3-inch out of this envelope, 3-inch circles. And you just want to make sure you're getting, this way, getting as much out of the paper as you can, so you go as close to the edge as you can. And that's nice and tight in there, so I can turn it over and press. I think that's going to give me at least 4 pages. Oh, it's not really going all the way through. Maybe you only have to do 2 at a time. Let's see if it'll let me back in there. And if I can get it lined up, maybe I just got to start somewhere else. Okay, we'll do some down here. I've got a tear there, so I'm gonna cut that off. That worked better. I did cut off one little corner. So I like this paper. It's good for this. This one is not perfect, but I think we can make it work as long as we get our brad down far enough to catch it. I'll set it aside for a minute. Another one over, another 2 over here. And just make it there. 2 more pages in my little notebook. Oh, yeah, that's just a glue flap. This is going to get part of my postal code in it, but I'll just put that to the back. And because it's not a book that you really flip through, you won't even notice that that's there. Again, I got a little close to the edge there. Right through this crease, I think. One more punch out of this. If I position it just so, I can get one more out of it, I think. Go. And then, like I say, we'll come back, and before we clean up, I will try to use up as much of this as possible. For this color, I'll probably do the 5/8 circles and do a bunch of them, and those will become hole reinforcers for me. I don't have any in that exact tone, so that'll be good. And with doing an envelope, it's good because I'm doing 2 layers at a time. Back and do more of those later. And I don't necessarily cut the middle hole for the hole reinforcer at this point. Sometimes I do. If I'm doing this in front of the TV, I'll do the whole process. But for now, I'll just stick these in my little hole reinforcers box. I've got a section of beige ones. It's turning out that there's a lot of different colors of beige. I might have to do a box of beige ones and then a box of colored ones by the time I'm done. So this has quite a few pages. Let's see, we got 1, that's not perfect. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can get 7, 8. Those ones aren't perfect, so I'll put them in the middle. 9, again, not perfect. And this one with tiny little bit of writing on the back. I don't think that matters, but I'll put it at the back. So I got 10 pages, which is nice. I guess you could do 12 for the 12 days of Christmas. Depends how much hidden meaning you want in your things. I used to do that a lot. I have done that a lot, and I do that a lot. So I'm just sort of lining up the little scallops here. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to punch through everything at once. Actually, I think I'm going to use my new tool, which is for not for brads, for eyelets, but it seems like it's an easier squeeze than my hole punch. And it has a thing where you can set the depth so that you're punching at the same distance from the edge every time. I want it fairly close, but I want to make sure I catch. It has this fence that you can move. I put it out. I think that's a centimeter, or maybe it's a quarter inch, I think. Well, it says millimeters. Looks like a quarter inch to me. I mean, it doesn't matter really what the setting is as long as it's the same each time. And then figure out which is the top of your tag, which in my case is right about here. I want to go down between 2 scallops and punch. And then when I punch, let's just see if it'll do all 10 pages. I'm going to want to go also down between the 2 I could actually hold this on top. I don't really mind if I see some of the edges of the paper. It's not going to be perfect around there because it coordinates pretty well. But I'll just try to get that punched in the same place. Oh, I can't see it, so I'm just going to have to do it. I'll get my scallops lined up. And I'll go right in between two scallops and punch. And see, that went through all 10 pages without me hardly squeezing at all, which was just a blessing, let me tell you. I'm gonna have fun with that. Okay, so that gives me a small hole. And then I need to do the same thing on the back piece, and I am gonna do it the same distance from the edge again. And then I'll grab my brads. And I think a gold one would be good. I don't use a lot of gold every day, but I will use it a lot for Christmas stuff. So I'm going to work that through the holes. It should line back up for me. I would have preferred them stay together, but there we are. And then through the back, which is green on the front, which is what I want showing. It's a bigger circle. It's the 3.5. So I'll let it show at the bottom and kind of frame the picture from the front of the Christmas card. Gives sort of a wreath feel to it. And so that is pretty much it. You could decorate the back up a little bit, cover up the brads if you wanted. They could be covered with music paper on the back, or you could put a magnet on the back, like I said, to put them on the fridge. That would be cute. So there's the first two. And then let's do, this one's already cut out. The front and the pages are cut out, and I had picked out this purpley color to go with this, and I need the 3.5-inch punch for that. And I'll just make sure that I'm getting a full scalloped edge around. And let's just see if we can punch this all at once. If I get it lined up where I want it. I think I want those lines going up and down. And I do like the way it looks when it's sort of offset like that, instead of trying to center it. I guess it really looks good either way. So if I clamp this just so it doesn't move on me, then I can let go of it and figure this out. If I want to center it, then I need this to go further down. See, I think that's going to be far enough, but let's go just a touch farther. And that is so easy to punch. That's a dream. And this definitely wants a gold brad because of the color of the little house. Trying to decide if I want antique gold. I think I do on this one. So let's put that through and then spread the arms. Mine seem to be glued together. This little tool has a flat edge. So let's see if I can get it in between those. Gosh, someone's really played a trick on me. Sending me brads in a swap that were glued together. Oh, best practical joke ever. Ah, there it goes. And then just flatten that back. And I think I would be inclined to cover the back edge. So let's just take a little snippet of this with my, and just go kind of follow that curve that I know it's going to be on. And change that scallop to a ripple. And we'll just glue that over that so that it's not catching on any, if I put it in a pocket or something, it's not going to catch. Like that. And it might be just as inclined if I was taking a little more time with these little Christmas crafts to completely cover the back side with Christmas music or something. But this will do for today. I do have some little flat magnets. I may just make these into magnets and throw them in my Etsy shop. And then that swivels so that you can use your little pages. I'm liking that. And then another fun with punch thing is snowflakes. So I do have a pile of snowflakes set aside off to the edge here that I've been kind of waiting to use as I do my Christmas in July stuff, and I haven't used them yet. But I'll punch a couple out of this blue paper just to kind of try to use it up a little bit. So I do have more of this paper. I'll just cut a bunch. And I do have a box with divided compartments that just has snowflakes in it of all different colors, so that when I'm using up my scraps and punching them, I have somewhere to put them. And now the rest I might do some 5/8 holes just to have on hand for tags and stuff, mini notebooks. Trying to use up as much of the paper as I can before I toss it. And with punches, you often have to cut so that you can get the punch close to the edge again. I'm going to get just a couple more out of there, and then this page will be scrap, but not a whole lot of scrap. That's pretty good. And you might be able to still use that bottom edge with all that little snowflake edge in it, but I think I'm okay with throwing that out now. And I'll put these little blue ones, try to get them all facing the same way so I don't think they're white ones. I'll toss them into my colored bin over here. I was trying to have beige, white, black, and then colors, and I've got some other colors there, so I don't know, we might have to reorganize those. And I'll just put these over with these other snowflakes for now. I tend to do the snowflakes if I have a blue or a white paper scrap to use up. Or silver. Okay, so now this little one with the blue background and the church, I've picked out that same paper for the backing, and I've got the graph paper in there. So we're just going to go ahead and do our punching. I love this punch. And in this one, I'll use a silver brad. I do have some little brads with shapes on them, but I think they're mostly dragonflies and stuff. I've got to dig out some hardware to share. in a swap, so I might end up giving up some of these shapes. I think I'll just use a silver one here. So silver goes with the blue to my eye. And the other thing is you could put another little bit of something right behind the brad if you wanted, like, for instance, a snowflake. I could put a white snowflake under the brad. That would look cute. Punch it right in the middle. Just take that back out. And actually, I might leave the blue of the snowflake showing because it coordinates. What do you think? Blue or white? Say in the comments whether you would want to see the blue snowflake or the white snowflake. I think in the end I'm going to use the white, but I would be interested to hear whether you thought I should have used the blue. I think that adds a nice dimensional look to it. Yeah, I like that. And then to cover the brad on the back, again, I'm going to use, that's the other thing, you can, with the two sizes of punches, you can create your own little wreaths or frames. Now this one is a little thinner over here than it is over here, but it is something you can do to create something interesting. And I'm just going to put this here. And maybe what I'll do is anchor it with a couple of snowflakes. I'm really just doing it to cover up that brad. But I will add a couple of these. It's actually a different paper. I've just been kind of wanting to use the snowflakes and I keep forgetting about them. Now this might be something that would catch just as much as the brad would catch, unless it's really well glued down. And I think this one does not show up enough, so I'm gonna change it to one of these more periwinkle ones. Set that face up so it'll dry. And use one of these ones I just punched. A bit of a glob, so I'm just spreading it around. There. Now we've got 3 snowflakes on the back, and the church and the snowflake and the pretty houses. So because it had the baby blue background but then the purplish house, then I used the purplish edging. And then we're left with this, which will give us some great snowflakes or even some great whale tail tabs. I think I'm going to do a couple of whale tail tabs first. And I usually go as close to the edges as I can to get started. And like I say, then I do it so that I can just see those edges of the whale tail tab from the other one, and then I go over to where I'm just on the edge of them. And then cut my second one, and it leaves me with that little petal thing. And there is a video where I made some of these flowers just out of craft cardstock if you want to check it out. But when I have enough of these done up, I'll do another video with some colorful ones. So that's all the whale tail tabs I'm going to get out of that, and that's fine. I got a couple that I can use in a baby blue journal, whether it's Christmas themed or not, because you can't tell what that was. I've got some red ones here. I'll put them together. And then I will cut some snowflakes. I don't think I'm going to save that sentiment. I might just punch right through it. You don't really see it You can't really tell what it was on a snowflake because it's so cut up. So it's a good way to use the sentiments part, especially if it's in color, not black, and like color with black on top of it. And then I can get one or two more here. And then I have to probably switch to some dots. And just sort of use it up before I put it away. Especially with the Christmas cards, because there's not going to be any more of this color likely. I mean, I could possibly come across another identical card. I get cards from all different places. Different people save them for me. I save them. Whenever we get Christmas cards at work, I always ask the girls to save them for me. The ones that suppliers send tend to be different than the ones in the stores. So I get a good variety, and usually some very simple, elegant cards with those. So again, I'll put these in one section of my little box, and I think I will need to, after a bunch of crafting like this, I'm probably going to need to make one box for neutrals and one box for colors so I can separate them. That's a TV job or a porch project. TV task, porch project. And then I've got one more that I thought I would do, but I used up the blue paper. I was going to use that same blue paper, so let me see if I can find more of it. I'm pretty sure there's more of it here. It was in this pad that I got. Well, there's some that's similar, but I can use the mauve somewhere else. I don't like that checkered one. There's one, but it's not quite big enough. The other thing is, once you've done a cutout like this, you can use it to like figure out where to cut, or if you've got a good enough picture to fit into one of these circles. In fact, this just gives me an idea too, that you could do that if you had a full half of the circle left. If you had the same width left, you could fold it over and use that as a frame that wraps around the page or something. There's some. There's just so much we can do with paper, and I didn't really pay much attention to paper for the longest time. So I'm going to do a 3-inch hole for the cover. I've got 3-inch there. So this is nice too. You can just look at it from this way. I'm going to be able to get the snowman and the one little boy, or the snowman and the little boy. I think I want the snowman and the little boy with the lantern. There's just the light from the lantern is explained that way. And then I just need to trim just a bit so I can get over just a bit more. Yeah, even though you can kind of see then the other kid. Well, I'll try to get him out of the picture so that you don't realize I've cut him out. Get that present. And then again, I can do more stars. I could even possibly save this house up here for a pocket somewhere. So I could see that working as a pocket. Anyway, I'll come back to that. I'm going to do a 3.5 inch in the larger color, or the larger circle for the back. And see how I want this to go together. Some of these pages weren't perfect either. You can see I got the border there. Actually, I got that on quite a few of these. So I want to put that up at the top where it won't be as noticeable. So this will be our top up here. And I think I'll leave those as horizontal lines this time. And will I center it? I like both ways actually. I think I will center this one up. Sort of like that. See if my clamp will reach. And punch my hole. I keep wanting to do it up here, but that's the thing where you squeeze the eyelets together. I'm going to go between two. Oh, that's so beautiful, the way that cuts. And then again, this one I think will need to be silver. Could be brass or bronze because of the color of the snowman's hat. In fact, I think I will do a bronzy tone. With the purple, that looks good too. That looks cute. And I didn't put a snowflake through, but I think it would be too close to the snowman. It would block him. Yeah. This one is good because it's up in the sky. But I can put a snowflake on the back. Maybe just a single snowflake on the back is all it really needs. So I'll use that same paper and just cover the brads. Maybe I can finagle them to bend the way I want them to, so that I can cover them easier and not have that sticking out. And yes, Brad, I'm talking just for you when I say out. My cousin in West Virginia always makes us say, "There's a mouse in the house, get it out." Because that's not at all how it sounds when they say it. There's a mouse in the house, get it out. And they just love to hear us say it. It makes them laugh. They don't really tease us, they just like to hear us say it. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I've done this type of notebook before with mason jar shapes, comes to mind. I've got a couple more I want to do. In fact, I want to do this Season's Greetings Noel stocking, but I've got to find just the perfect paper to go with it. So I haven't done that yet, but these ones I hope you enjoyed, and I'll do some more punching and sorting before I close up the shop here on this session. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, but most of all, have a great day.